Hey, True Believers. Chris Mack coming at you with DCeased Did Planet #2. And I gotta tell you, it's really a breath of fresh air when you are able to find a modern comic book that's fun, very well paced in terms of action and storytelling, and doesn't get bogged down with dialogue as I've shown in other reviews. And this, I've said this in the past where I've picked up books and I've let them sit, and I'm like, it's going to be boring, I don't care. And then my expectations get subverted in that sense because it turns out to be a good book. This is another one of those cases. I'm not real fond of the $4.99 price tag because we've seen in older books where you get a whole lot of, like, it was consecutively like that for 75 cents, $1, $1.25. So $5 for a good book, it's there. But nonetheless, good book. Let's jump into it. So last issue, I know we went over that a while back. Some mistakes happened. Spoiler alert, because it's one of the main points of this book. So if you don't want to be spoiled, pause this, check out the review of issue 1, and then go pick up the book from your local comic shop. And now you're back. Green Arrow was attacked last issue, and it showed him to be dying of the anti-life infection. And so just with that in mind, let's talk about who made this book before we get into Roy Arsenal. This is written by Tom Taylor, penciled by Trevor Hairsine, inks by Gigi Baldisi, colors by Rain Burrito, letters by Sandia Timo Fontaine, and there's everyone else that's working on the book. So we open up with Arsenal, and I like how Tom Taylor uses the dialogue boxes to pace the book. Like, it's not one of those 6-mile long ones that you'd see in other books. It just says, the world always needs a hero. Someone who managed to stay shiny in all the darkness. And I like how the art team uses these gritty, dark panels to give the feeling of dread that this planet has become. So it really kind of shows the juxtaposition of Arsenal compared to the undead that are coming to attack him. But something happens, and it says, but sometimes the hero just isn't enough. Sometimes the problem's too ugly. And those times the hero just doesn't cut it. And it says, in those times, the world needs a... And so you can kind of enter your own expletive there. And I like how enter John Constantine. And this here, because you see Constantine, you see Blue Devil, Red Hood, Zatanna, Ravager, Ragman. So they're kind of introduced when we went over, what was that called? DCeased. Oh man, I can't remember what that book was called. I've done a review on it, so I'll try to leave a card. But what it is it focuses on Red Hood, Jim Gordon, and Cassandra Cain, and how they survive in getting out of Gotham. And at the end of the series, they end up in Ivy's garden, which is a protective place run by Ivy and Harley. And that's where they meet up with the magical DC characters. So, and Ravager was also part of Red Hood's team. So I kind of like that consecutive, the continuity in that sense. So it was nice to see them again. So make sure to read that DCeased series first. I'm sorry, but yeah, for the life of me, I cannot remember what it was called. But it was a really good read, and I highly recommend it. And here, again, what I like is how we jump right into the action. And it says, Blue Devil, Dan Cassidy, demon with a soul, strong, almost impervious to damage. Ragman, Roy Regan, able to draw on the corrupted souls held in his cloak for strength and speed. And then you're thinking, wait, if he can draw souls, then what about, and then it says, but his cloak could not pull the souls from all the anti-living. And then we get, Detective Chimp, Ravager, and then I like how it says, and Red Hood. Kind of like Batman, but not as squeamish. So boom, boom, boom. Each character is introduced. Powers are explained, so very much in that sense Claremont-esque, the way he used to always introduce the X-Men's powers in the book. And not like, oh, Red Hood, he's cranky, LOL, so random. They don't do that anymore, and I appreciate that. This is boom, boom, boom. And the paneling and the art, the beats just work. Doom, 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 doom. And we go on, and then like how it says, and it shows Constantine yell for Zatanna. And Zatanna and John are always two of my favorite characters. So when they're in a book, always a welcomed sight. So I don't want to give away what happens here, but Swamp Thing comes in, and we all know that John and Swamp Thing always butt heads. And John's just kind of like, I'm in the middle of something. Can we talk about this later? And so the way Swamp Thing finally gets his attention, because he's like, I'm fighting the undead. Boom. And John just sits there, lights a cigarette. See, why didn't you just open up with that? And that is a harrowing panel. I mean, you have to kind of laugh at the dark, macabre sense of it, but still, it just a little disturbing. So what kind of happens here is, as I explained, there's the sanctuary that Harley and Ivy made in Gotham Park, and then it's reinforced by what's that? The Tower of Fate, Dr. Fate's tower. But Swamp Thing's saying that there's another garden in Australia. And so he's able to finally talk John into taking him over there so that they can see if there's any more survivors and try to bring everybody and see what's going on. And then we get into the garden. We kind of catch up on what happened last issue. And this is what I really like. So if you remember from issue 1, if not, go check it out. The heroes that are survived, that are attacking Earth right now, they left the planet in the pages of the original DCeased series. So like Damian, John Kent, da-da-da-da-da-da. So they're back. And Jason and Damian are reunited. And you can see how Damian's growing up because Jason, Cass, you're alive. And I like how Jason's just like, and you're Batman now. And Cass like, suits you. Batman, Bruce said he wanted me to have it. And Jason says, of course he did. So you're thinking, oh boy, here we go, sibling rivalry. And Damian, as you remember, he used to be this hot-headed little turd. But he looks at Jason because this is his brother. He goes, are you okay with that? Your father made a lot of very bad decisions. But this is not one of them. And that hits you right in the feels. Because if you remember all the bad blood that Damian had with Dick and Tim and Jason and his own father and Alfred and Barbara. See, when Tom Taylor wants to hit the human emotion, he knows how to do it. Another book that he wrote very well. I think he loves the DC characters because the stuff I read or seen from him from Marvel, but it seems like when he gets his hands on the DC characters, he knows how to hit that emotional chord and how he just hits the stride that really works. And this panel is one of them. Now, what I was talking about with Oliver Queen, he got attacked by an infected, and Black Canary is now a Green Lantern, which I don't know if that was explained in the pages of DCeased because I didn't read it. Let me know down in the comments, but it's an interesting dynamic for this metahuman to be also a Green Lantern. And Ivy's saying, get him out of here. And she's like, I won't leave him. And then I like how Harley kind of breaks the tension in a sense because you start to feel the tension of this scene. And Ivy says, I will not risk the lives of all the people here so you can cling to a corpse. And Harley's just like, there was a guy at Arkham who was in there for clinging to corpses. But this is probably a slightly different situation. See, Harley would make a joke like that. She would. Not, holy camoly, whack-a-mole, kablowy, kazoe, like the more modern Harley books. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the Harley reviews we've done. But this is more akin to what Harley used to be. So let's skip over some stuff. We get to Australia. And I mean, look at this art. That is great. I don't know if that was done after a 3D model or if that was pulled out of someone's head. But nonetheless, I feel, in terms of the coloring, the dynamicness of the camera angle, how it's kind of pointing upward, and then you have this hellfire going across it. You have all the dead here. You feel the stakes of what this team is going up against in Australia. And it's like welcome to the Thunderdome. You know what I mean? And then you see that it's surrounded by a river of blood. Well, blood. You come to find out what the blood is, why it's significant, what's going on, and why John kind of is like, oh, very interesting, fun read. Like, I've said in some books where it feels like a chore because there's so much dialogue and standing and talking. Here, there's some standing and talking that builds up dialogue, and there's some exposition that needs to be dumped. But I felt it just boom, boom, boom. Okay, we're talking about this, we need to go here. We're talking about this, This sets this off. And then it just keeps going like a story should. And each character has their own faults and strengths, especially John, because he is a living enigma. So guys, DCeased did plan it. Every time I go to crack it open, I'm thinking, oh god, a zombie book, this is going to be boring. And then I get back into it and I'm just like, oh man, now I remember why I finished this series on my pull list, because it is actually interesting and I am having a good time reading it. Like I sat down, cracked it open, and then I'm like, wait, it's over? Was that short? And it's a normal size comic book. Just the difference is I had fun with it. And that's what's important with this type of medium, is it's escapism. And you're supposed to be entertained and maybe learn some things, because a good writer can throw some emotional beats and use subtext of modern stuff so it doesn't feel preachy or in your face, but enough that they implement it into the dialogue and it starts making you think in the back of your head. Subtext. So yeah, DCeased did plan it, number 2. Absolutely awesome read. If you've enjoyed this comic book, please, first and foremost, support your local comic shop and see if you can pick up a copy. And if you have enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you won't mind hitting that fancy little zombie bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys will get notified. Come to the channel, and we love talking with y'all down in the comments below, or our social media pages, which I will make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.